Welcome to this tutorial. So I'm going to describe how to go through this process of creating a SolidWorks model from these DXF files that you get out of MachUpX. So you're going to start off, you should start off with this folder. So it's generally going to be the name of your airplane, underscore DXF underscore files. And so you should have at least 4 files for each wing segment. Sometimes you'll have a little bit more than that, and we'll go through that later on. But just for nomenclature explanation, it's going to be each one has the name of your airplane, and sometimes there's a file tag in here, the wing segment name, the side name, so left or right, and then this is the part that we'll explain about later. So there's only 3 different types of these final extensions. One is a number, one is the capital GC, and one is planes. And you can see it's the same through every wing segment section. Okay, so you start with your file. You're going to insert this guy on the right plane. So I'm going to start off just at the top and go down. So you're going to insert the planes file. And so it has to be on the right plane because of the way that MachUpX geometrically sets things up. So don't need to worry about anything, 2D sketch, everything's good. This is if you're doing it in English units. If you have if you ran MachUpX using SI units, you're going to want to come in here and change that to meters. But we don't need to worry about that. And you'll need to do that for every DXF file that you import. So it might be easier, honestly, to just change over to English. But I believe you can change those import defaults in the settings. So I'm going to start. Notice that this is the right plane. It's kind of hard to see now that I've imported on it. So these are the H-stab left planes. Okay, so I'm going to start near the origin. You'll notice that the origin is right here. So I'm going to start at the origin and work outwards. Say I had more, I would want to start at 0, 1, 2, and so on. So I'm going to start here. I select the body of that T shape. So the top of this T will always be normal to this, and depending on whether yours has dihedral or not, this line will be slanted. But you need to select that as well as the right plane and insert a plane. So notice that it's coincident to that line, but it's perpendicular to the right plane. So I'm going to rename this HL, just for short, and then 0, 0. And then I'm going to do the same over here on this other plane. I'm going to select the right plane. So I used the shortcut last time. I'll select this guy just so you see a little bit better. So it's coincident to this line, and then it's perpendicular to the right plane. Okay, and I'm going to rename that HL01. Okay, so I can hide these so I don't need to worry about visually getting confused. I'm going to save. Okay, so now I'm going to import HL00. I'm going to import traditional airplane H-stab left. So once again, it's just the name of your airplane, wing segment, side, and then the number. 2D, and it's imported. Great. So we're just going to name this THL 00. And then we will do the same for HL01. Insert as 2D. Didn't need to click next. Bad habit. Okay, so you'll notice I have these 2 2D outlines. So previously, MachUpX spit out the 3D outlines, but those were incredibly difficult for Loft and SolidWorks to work through. And so we found a better way, and so this is how I'm explaining it. This is what I'm going through. Okay, So now that you have the 2D lines in there, doesn't matter what plane you select. You could do the front plane, top plane, right plane, doesn't matter. You could select one of these planes. Now we're going to insert the guide curves. And the one difference between this file and the other two types of files is that this is inserted as 3D. Okay, and that's why it doesn't matter where they are inserted on. So you'll notice, look at that, you've got these lines, okay? And so now I can perform a loft. Now I just need to select these outlines. Notice these green points, that's SolidWorks' way of saying, hey, this is where I am considering each loft to start to go between these shapes. So if this ends up like this, your loft's going to fail. You need to make sure they're on the same line. Because these are imported as splines, that's the default in DXF. It's honestly preferable for you, makes your life easier. It will only have these 2 points, one at the trailing edge and one somewhere around the leading edge. It's about halfway between these points on the top and these points on the bottom. But it doesn't matter too much. All that is for SolidWorks to say, okay, everything between this point and that point needs to match, and everything between that point and this point needs to match. Okay, so now we can insert the guide curves, and we're done. And we've just got our HL, our horizontal stabilizer. I believe this is the left side. I'm gonna save and add these to a folder. Make my life easier. Okay, and it's the same process through everything. So right plane, insert DXF, go down HStab right planes, file, insert as 2D, and once again I've got these lines. Once again, I'm going to start at this inner one, so I'm going to exit the sketch. I won't worry about renaming it. Hopefully you guys understand where I'm going with this. I'm going to start with this inner one, insert a plane, then I'm going to go to the outer one and insert a plane. Okay, I will rename these. Okay, so we're going to call this, I don't remember what I called the other ones, HL00, so this will be HR00, or excuse me, this will be HR01. No, that'll be 00. Oh boy, what a day. Okay, and it just deleted it. Cool. HR01. Okay, so now I can hide these and save. So I'm going to insert 2D DXF. Okay, exit. And now I'm going to insert 2D DXF on 01. Once again, you could have more than that. Depends on how many airfoil changes you have on the wing. There will be at least one for every airfoil change at each span location where the airfoil changes. But once again, you don't need to be too worried about the naming structure as long as you have a general idea of what you're doing. So we're going to create a loft, but first we need to insert the guide curves. Once again, we're doing this as 3D. Okay, so you can see those guide curves. So I'm going to create a loft. Awesome. Okay, so there's my horizontal stabilizer. Alrighty. And then I'm going to add this to its own folder. Okay. Once again, start with the right plane, DXF, and we're going to move on to the main wing left. So it's coming in as a 2D file. You can see where those lines are. I'm going to start at the root, near the origin, and select the right plane, insert a plane. Then I'm going to go out to the tip right there, select the right plane, insert a plane. Okay, so now I can hide these. And I'm not going to bother renaming them. I think you get at this point what I'm trying to do. So insert 0, 0 as 2D. Great. And then insert 0, 1 as 2D. Great. And then insert the 3D guide curves. Once again, doesn't matter what plane you import it on, just as long as you import it. Okay, so now we've got our main wing left. So I'm going to save, start a loft. And import the guide curves. Okay, add this to its own. Main wing left. We'll just call it main wing left. Okay. Alrighty. Thirdly, we're going to import main wing right. Start with the planes. 2D. And then we're going to start with this line. Right plane, insert a plane. Okay. And then we're going to start with this guy, insert a plane. Okay. Alright, so we're going to start at the root, insert the DXF, main wing right, open. 2D, great. Looks good. Okay, start at the tip. Main wing right, 0, 1, and 2D. Awesome. Okay, now we're going to insert the guide curves right here. Insert as 3D. Boom. Okay. So now I'm going to save and create a loft. And you can see once I've selected these guide curves, these blue points show up. Those are just to kind of help you make sure that it's still correlating between the correct points. Something nice that SolidWorks has there. Okay, so that's main wing right. And last but not least, we'll get to see a little bit of how dihedral works on these guys. So we're inserting the vertical stabilizer. So insert the planes file as on the right plane once again. Doesn't matter the dihedral, the right plane is what matters. So you can see the dihedral, how it's affected these lines. So we're going to insert it on the right plane, and then we're going to go out to the tip and insert on the right plane, a plane perpendicular. Okay. Awesome. So we'll start at the root, insert V-stab left 0, insert it as 2D, and that shows you where it gets imported. Then plane 24, insert 0, 1, insert as 2D. Good. Okay, and last, we are going to insert the guide curves. And once again, guide curves is the only file that you insert as 3D. Okay, so that shows you what our vertical stabilizer looks like. Okay, so we're going to save, and then we can create a loft. And then we can select these guide curves, and boom, we've got our vertical stabilizer. So I hope this was pretty brief, but understandable. So it's not terribly difficult to insert these. You just need to make sure you stay consistent and watch out for where you're inserting your planes as well as where you're inserting your 2D DXF shapes. So yeah, I hope you guys are successful, and good luck, and let us know if you have problems. Thanks.